program just keeps getting better and better and better. We keep getting better and better and better because we decide to speak our word into form. But there's always a question at the beginning. Are you ready to be free?
Yes.
Are you ready to claim your freedom?
Yes.
Are you ready to demonstrate your freedom?
Yes.
Are you ready to live your freedom?
Yes.
Great, then we're going to do our treatment for freedom together. I speak my word for myself, my center, and all its members and friends. I know love as the only reality. I am created out of love. Love is what I am. I know this love as absolute freedom in every area of my life, the life of my center, and all who call it home. I know our center's mortgages are paid in full, and I claim for all of us financial freedom with all debts paid and cleared. I release any sense of struggle or wrongdoing. I live in an abundant universe where there is more than enough for all. We experience freedom in every moment by always having more than enough money, vibrant health, and loving relationships. We are who we have come here to be. With hearts open wide, we see the world through the eyes of love. We are blessed, we are rich, and we are free. And so it is. And the tools that we use to bring this about are our points of power. I always pay attention. I always tell the truth and tell it quickly. I always ask for what I want when I want it. I always take total responsibility for my experience. I always keep my agreements. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today I want to talk about our mental atmosphere. And the reason I have you do all this stuff, the reason we have a treatment for freedom, the reason we recite our points of power, the reasons that we have an identity prayer, all of that stuff is to clean ourselves up so that our mental atmosphere is clean and clear. Because not everybody has a clean and clear mental atmosphere. I bring your attention to Pigpen. Pigpen is a great example of a mental atmosphere. He could use a little treatment work, a little affirmation, a little center for spiritual living, because he carries with him chaos and disaster. He carries with him dirt. And whatever he touches, that dirt touches it. Have you ever known anybody like that? Maybe they're not carrying dirt, maybe they are carrying dirt, but maybe they're not carrying dirt, maybe they're carrying anger. Just anything can set them off. It doesn't matter what it is, just pick a thing. Anything can set them off because they carry with them all of this anger. They may be carrying a mental atmosphere of pain. It's just so sad. It's all so awful. And anything can set that pain and awfulness off. I've been in relationships with people who went back and forth from pain to anger, and it didn't seem to matter what I did. I was going to set something off in them, and then they would go and do their dance because they are living in their mental atmosphere. You are living in your mental atmosphere. So what sets you off? Is it something that sets off this feeling of love and joy and gratitude? Or is it something that sets off a sense of something's going to be taken from me, I'm going to get hurt, and I'm going to fight or flight myself through it to make sure I'm as safe as I can be? That's all about us. And you can feel that with people. You go up to some people sometimes and, I don't know, you come to Center for Spiritual Living and it just feels great. There are people who literally walk through those glass doors and start to cry. And they don't necessarily stop crying for months. Because there was a mental atmosphere, there's an energy, there's a feeling. And they can feel that. You go to certain people and you're just drawn to them and they're just wonderful. They're just wonderful. And if I can just kind of hang out with them, it's just great. I just feel so good. Why do you think babies are so great? Whenever we have a new baby in the center, I'll notice it'll start to get passed around during the celebration. It's because they have a mental atmosphere that's wide open to love. And we can feel that. And then there are other people, you know, I have left checkout lines and gone to a longer line before because I didn't like the people I was standing next to. They had a mental atmosphere. They were a fight ready to happen. Or the checkout person, I didn't want them touching my stuff. Frankly, I'm a big fan of the self-checkout. I will wait in line for self-checkout because I'm very sensitive to the mental atmosphere that's around me. But you know, the most important mental atmosphere is the one that is inside of us. We can look at other people's mental atmospheres, and I know that certain people can actually see things. They can see auras, and they can see energy fields and all of that. But the most important mental atmosphere is our own. Because not only are we filtering everything in life through that mental atmosphere, which will color it, either into a positive vein or a negative vein, depending on what we've got going on. As that thing comes through into our experience, it's colored, it's twisted, it's changed. It only means what you make it mean, but we're all making things mean things all the time. So as that's coming into our experience, it's changing to fit what we believe to be true about the world. So is it going to be changed to, oh wow, there's a pony in here somewhere, this has got to be a blessing, only good can happen to me? Or is it being colored into a thing of, oh, see, I can talk without words. And how do we clean up that mental atmosphere if we are busy stomping our foot, getting all reactive? Because, you know, I think if we had a clue the power that we wield, we are spiritual beings living in a spiritual universe governed by spiritual law. We are manifesting our lives with our thoughts, our beliefs, our words, our choices all the time. I think if we had a little bit of a glimpse of the power that we wield, we would stop and just take a moment and check out our mental atmosphere and say, am I bringing positivity into my world today? Or am I bringing a sense that the world is going to hell in a handbasket, that there are wars out there and politicians and economies and people that are trying to take what's mine and I've got to, you know, eat or be eaten kind of thing? Am I bringing that into my world? Because if I bring that into my world, that is exactly what I'm going to get. And so as we begin to be sensitive on the spiritual path to energies, to how things feel. Emerson said, who you are speaks so loudly I cannot hear what you say. We feel people. As we begin to get more sensitive to those energies that are going on, then it behooves us to check ourselves out. When we've got something inside of us, when we've got something that we stand in judgment on, Louise Hay's biggest healings have always been in releasing shame. Her main affirmation is, I love and accept myself just the way I am. If we look at the idea that we are spiritual beings made out of spirit, that God itself is manifest as us, that we are beings of light, we are beings of love, then how can we hold on to something inside of us and call it bad or wrong? But when we do, an interesting psychological dynamic happens. When we judge ourselves, we end up judging everybody else. And very often it's for the exact same thing. That's why when people get on TV and they're all, you people shouldn't be doing this thing. It's like, well, what's in your closet? Because we can only be hooked if we're hookable, and we can only be hookable if we hold that within ourselves. So if we stand in judgment of ourselves and say, oh, I did something that was bad or wrong, or I'm basically a bad and wrong person, then we will project that onto other people. And in that projection, we will react to it in someone else. Now that's in our mental atmosphere. We carry that around with us. I'm looking for somebody to be wrong so that I can make them wrong so that nobody will know that I feel wrong. It gets very dirty. Instead of, whatever I did, I'll stand by it. I'm not going to make myself or anybody else wrong for anything. We are spiritual beings in a spiritual universe. We are doing this dance of life. We do what we do, given the conditions and the information and the abilities that I had or anybody else had, we would all do the same thing again. So let's let everybody off the hook. Let's let ourselves off the hook. Let's let other people off the hook. Nobody did anything to you. And you didn't do anything wrong. You're a being of light. You're a being of love. And if you allow that to come out, it will transform your life and the life of everyone that you come in contact with. So when we, instead of feeling bad about ourselves and project that onto other people, if we feel good about ourselves, or at least give ourselves a pass, at least go neutral, then we can give that to other people. Well, you know, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they were not honking at me. Maybe they were honking at a truck coming that I didn't see. I don't know. Maybe instead of feeling like somebody can hurt me, I know that people are just trying to find their way. Nobody can hurt me. Nobody can ever take anything from me. Nobody can ever do anything to me. So I'm going to give space to everybody to be on their path in their perfect and right place, doing exactly what they need to be doing to find their way back to love. That's our mental atmosphere. And you can feel it in people. You can connect to it in people. When you clean yourself up, when you say, I always pay attention. Pay attention. What is going on? What just happened? Pay attention. Well, this person did this thing to me. Never that simple. Always, I created an experience on the outside to mirror what I live with 24 hours a day in the hopes that I will notice it and heal it. Oh, it's a healing opportunity. So instead of blaming someone else, I can let myself off the hook. Instead of holding unrealistic expectations for the world to accommodate my every whim, I can let myself off the hook. Instead of listening to someone else's voice inside of my head, I can let myself off the hook. And when I do that, I let the other people in my world off the hook. Boy, you want to have peace on earth? Let's let everybody off the hook. Could you imagine? Let's give everybody permission to be on their own path and to find their own way. And in so doing, give ourselves permission to have always been on our own path and to find our way. There's no place to go. You're only going to God. God can only go to God. Love can only go to love. Light can only go to light. There's no place else to go. So we might as well not make it difficult, or at least more difficult for ourselves by piling on all of this stuff. Anytime you find yourself encountering something out there that pushes your button, check out your mental atmosphere. Check yourself out and say, did I get up this morning just PO'd? What's up with that? Oh, my pillow wasn't right. Oh, it's cold. Oh, it's hot. Oh, my show wasn't on. Oh, my God, they're showing football at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. What am I to do? Check yourself out. What does that take? A fearless moral inventory? Let's not go to morals here. I don't like that at all. Take a fearless ethical inventory of yourself and say, I have to have that going on inside of me if I'm ever going to see it on the outside. Otherwise, all I see is love. All I see is light. All I see is amazingly tenacious love spirits going for it in life. And granted, some of us bit off a lot. But we only bit it off because we were sure that we could triumph, that we could demonstrate, that we could manifest the love that we know ourselves to be. That's all I see, if that's all I am, if that's all I hold inside of myself. As soon as I start seeing something different, it's time for me to look inside. And I can see it just like this bubble around me, except that bubble is vibrating and creating and drawing to it all like particles to manifest experiences in my life that whatever it is I hold in my mental atmosphere, I hold in my world. Nothing is random. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is always a manifestation. It can be either a manifestation of disaster or it can be a manifestation of love and light and happiness and joy. It's completely up to us. One more thing. This unhooking thing, I love it when it goes mainstream. There is a disease title in cancer therapy now called unforgiveness. Because when you will not forgive people, you have high levels of adrenaline and cortisol in your system, which suppresses your immune system, and cancer goes bananas. And the normal balance of your body, which is that your immune system would gobble up anything that was out of control and not for your highest and best physically, that normal function is totally suppressed because people won't forgive somebody for something that happened 50 years ago, and it is literally killing them, and the medical profession finally got it. So in the prescription is forgiveness therapy to go along with cancer treatments. Because it's all one thing. If you want to go around bitter and angry and upset, it will manifest in your body, in your relationships, in your money, in everything that you do. But if you want to go around and take a deep breath and see the light and know that everybody's on their perfect and right place, that love is the only reality, that we are all spiritual beings and everything is fine, then that will manifest in your physical body, in your money, in your relationships, and in the body of your affairs. Take a look. Maybe not now. It's okay. But when you go home today, take a look at yourself and see what you're carrying around. Are you the pig pen or are you the being of light? It's totally your choice. I love you. And so